It's such an honor to be here today and share this moment of celebration and accomplishment. Congratulations on your graduation. It's a tremendous achievement. I've seen some of your wonderful work at the senior show, and it's clear that you balance creative inspiration supported by practical skills. It's a combination in demand by industry, but more importantly, is truly needed by society. Thank you to the FIT community and to President Brown for your leadership in preparing the creative, multidisciplinary individuals that I see before me now. Today, I'd like to share some of my experiences as an inventor, artist, and engineer. Now, some of you may know me as the guy who invented this thing. It's called the Hoberman sphere. That's the sphere, that's Hoberman. For most of us, it's a fun toy, but for me, it represents an obsession, making objects that transform their size and shape. Today, I'm going to share with you how my obsession has manifested itself, not only as kids' toys, but as deployable shelters, giant stage sets, architectural facades, and stadium domes. What is transformation? Since everything changes all the time, including ourselves, it almost seems too large to define. But as an engineer, I'm trained to break it down. I see transformation as rearrangement, moving many small bits around from one configuration to another. When natural organisms grow, they rearrange their cells and molecules. I just use mechanics to achieve a similar effect. To me, transformation represents a new way of designing. Rather than working with color and form, I work with new ways to expand, retract, or shapeshift. I believe that transformable design is a strategy to adapt to a rapidly changing world, one that can help us achieve a more sustainable future. Now, I arrived at these ideas over a number of years, and there were plenty of wrong turns and accidents along the way. But obsession makes for tenacity, and once I'd formed my idea, it wouldn't let me go. As an undergrad, I studied fine arts. I remember when I first realized that movement has a kind of a magic. The assignment was to create a piece that used color to create surprise. I found a roll of plastic that had a kind of a shape memory. I placed it down, let it go, and it unrolled itself across the floor, leaving a wide red stripe. For that moment, my classmates were mesmerized. There seemed to be almost a physiological response to the process of movement. After that, all my artwork was kinetic. I built sculptures that you could ride on. I thought if art is supposed to change your viewpoint, why not do it physically? One of my more traditional teachers took a look and said dismissively, "That's not art, that's engineering." He meant it as a critique, but I took it as advice. I wanted to bring my pieces to a new level, and studying engineering provided the foundation for everything that followed. My first job was in robotics, but I was working on a problem at night. How could I make an object disappear? Not as a magic trick, but where the object could change itself by itself. What would the geometry of such a structure look like? I worked on this problem for several years without making progress. I still remember the moment of insight. I was listening to a lecture, but I was drifting. And then there was a click, and in an instant, I could see the solution to my obsession. I saw a linkage, a hinged loop of pieces moving in space. I could see how 2, 3, many linkages attached to one another could build up an entire transforming volume. I had experienced the inventor's light bulb moment, best described by the 19th century mathematician Poincaré. Thought is only a flash between two long nights, but this flash is everything. Those seconds of illumination fueled my activities for several years, making prototypes, filing for patents, installing large spheres in science museums. And then a fateful thought, why not make it a toy? When we first introduced the Hoberman sphere, the toy industry folks didn't know what to make of it. They asked, how are kids supposed to play with it? Is that for boys or girls? And most devastating of all, is that all it does? But once it arrived into stores, kids understood exactly what it was. Not something to sit back and look at, and certainly not a demonstration of mathematical principles. They threw it, bounced it, squished it, and climbed inside of it. Adults began to catch on, and now it's used by yoga teachers, singing coaches, and therapists working with autistic kids. I can't say that any of this was planned or even was predicted or planned. It was more of a viral phenomenon. Over the years, I continue to pursue my transformable vision, creating building-sized pieces for the Olympics, for the band U2, and a giant retractable roof in Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. In recent years, I've been collaborating with scientific researchers to make medical devices, shape-shifting robots, and synthetic transformable materials. Now, it may sound like success is easy and natural, but at the same time, I've had many sleepless nights with over-budget projects, calls that a piece has stopped working, or a customer may have gone bankrupt. In fact, I was pretty naive when I embarked on this crazy career. I had no idea the difficulties and complications that I'd have to navigate. But when you want to create something new, sometimes you need to be naive to set things in motion. And sometimes I wonder how that light bulb moment on a warm spring day led to millions of kids playing with expanding spheres around the world. It seems mysterious, but if so, then everything is mysterious, because everything outside of nature itself started with someone's flash of illumination. Perhaps you can think of times when you've had your own flashes. I believe it's pretty much universal, but we often dismiss those experiences. Perhaps they seem impractical or unoriginal, or maybe we just don't know the next step. There's no simple formula for bringing your inspired thought into reality, but looking back, I better understand the elements that made the difference for me, and I'm going to share 7 of them with you. 1, you need a lot of ideas to get to the good ones. First, go for quantity, and don't worry about quality. Ask yourself, what's my problem? What is the question I burn to answer? Don't be afraid to have a vision, capital V. Just remember that your day job is to wrestle it down to earth. Don't stress waiting for the one big light bulb moment. Invention is exercise. It comes from making original connections between ideas that themselves may be familiar. Ideas need material expression in order to thrive. Write them down. Sketch. Being multidisciplinary is what the world is calling for, but generalist is not a discipline. You need to be expert in something specific. And most importantly, let your inner geek out. Obsession breeds tenacity, and you'll need it to succeed. As you embark on your new careers, you're bringing the skills, savvy, and drive to industries that need and value your capabilities. There will no doubt be twists and turns along the way, and at times the challenges will be steep. When you hit a wall, invent your way out of it. Keep exercising your creative muscles. The world is restless these days, and there's no shortage of problems demanding solutions. But creativity and invention are endlessly renewable resources, and you will draw on that sustenance throughout your lives. That's what fueled my obsession, designing objects that change their size and shape. Looking out, I see a new generation of creators that will take this world of accelerating transformation and shape change itself. Thank you.